Hi and welcome to Lichen Loam. In these videos I share my creative practice, what I've been working on lately, which includes everything from drawing and painting to knitting and sewing, making a handmade wardrobe. Everything I do creatively is inspired by the nature and landscape where I live in Baable National Park in Cymru, South Wales in the UK. I live here with my little elderly rescue dog Jack, who is very well, although less a part of these videos these days, as he is mostly a chilled out, sleepy boy. I was determined to find a birch tree to sit next to show you my almost finished Mila hoodie, because I think that it really reminds me of the bark of a silver birch. I believe that this tree is a silver birch, or at least a birch, but it's so old and covered in moss that you can't see its bark at all. So you're just going to have to trust me that the bark underneath all this moss looks a little bit like this hoodie. So this is my Mila hoodie by Irene Lynch, which I have just finished. All I have to do is seam up the side of these pockets. You can see I've got some stitch markers in place, holding them in place at the front. That is all that needs to be done. And I can try it on and show you. I am so pleased with how this project has turned out. Oh, there is one more job to be done after seaming up the pockets, and that will be to add the buttons. I've got some gorgeous buttons made from shed antlers from red deer, and they have that kind of woody texture as well. They're just perfect for this garment, for this wool. I'm really excited to get those buttons on, but I couldn't wait to show you this project because I'm so pleased with it. I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of it. I deliberately made it quite large, particularly paying attention to the size of the armholes, because I wanted it to be able to go over a jumper to give me an extra layer of warmth, which it definitely does. It fits really comfortably over my jumpers. So I'm really, really pleased with this project. The yarn that I used for this project was two yarns held together, but 3 strands. 1 strand of Baable Portuguese wool from Rosa Pomar, and 2 strands of a blue-faced Leicester and black Wensleydale blend from Laura's Loom, which gives, it's hardly a marl. The yarns were so close in tone, but I needed the yarn to be thicker than the Baable from Rosa Pomar, which is what gives this dark brown fleck. That's where the colour variation comes from. The blue-faced Leicester and Wensleydale was all one solid, well, slightly heathered colour, a cream with flecks of black in it. And yeah, so it helped me bulk up the yarn to get the right gauge for this project. I think I spoke a bit too soon about finishing this vest. I've seamed up the first pocket and decided I'm just not 100% happy with the placement, because the tension of the mattress stitch is pulling on the stitches and it's leaving this slightly baggy bit at the front. And I know once I've blocked it that will settle down a little bit, but I can't help but feel like this extra inch of fabric here just doesn't want to be there. And actually the placement of the pocket should be exactly here in the corner where the garter stitch front band meets the bottom hem ribbing. So I'm going to unpick both the pockets because they're not patch pockets. They were picked up into the knitting and knitted upwards. I'm going to frog them both and then re-knit them just a few stitches over so they nestle right into that corner between the button band and the bottom ribbing. I recently had a friend from the USA come and stay with me, and she's a friend who I made through the medium of comics. It was the first time that we'd met in person, but we met online through mutual enjoyment of each other's comics work. Her name is Maya, and we had an amazing week together exploring all the different things that there are to do and see around South Wales, where I live. And of course, people who make comics and love comics want to make comics together. So as part of our visit, we are working on a zine to document the fun things that we did while Maya was visiting. And that's what I'm working on this morning. So while Maya was here, we worked on the pencils for a zine. So I've got 4 pages mapped out on my piece of watercolour paper here, and Maya has the other 4 on theirs. So we are going to make, have I got the example? I do have the example. That's exciting. We're going to make a little 8-page zine that you can just make from one sheet of paper. So this is just a sample, a mock-up that we made from one sheet of A4 paper, which you then fold, cut in the middle, and it becomes a little booklet. So there are, including the cover and the back cover, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages in here, so 4 pages each. So we divided up all the things that we did and wanted to draw and shared them out. So now I have some work to do, and this isn't like a commercial project. I don't think we're going to sell this zine, maybe, but the main object is just to document the memories that we have of this week that we spent together. It was a really enjoyable and special week. I shared on Patreon some of the fun things we did. We got to go and cuddle some lambs at a local farm, and we got to watch the red kites being fed at our local red kite feeding station. We did some baking together. We did so many fun things. So it's really nice to be able to relive those memories through drawing them. I chose this walk because it looked tree-ish on the map, and you never know quite what you're going to get when you're picking a walk just based on what's on the map, but I have certainly not been disappointed. There have been so many incredible trees on this route, or a whole variety of different ages and kinds. But it's, yeah, like I talked about in my last video, it's a bit of a treat living in the mountains where I'm mostly surrounded by big, vast, expansive landscapes that don't have a lot of trees, to find a little hidden valley that's full of them and full of really kind of ancient, gnarly, mossy trees, the kind that I really love as well. So that's been a real treat. The hand knits that I'm wearing today are two lovely colourwork numbers. My hat is my Baable hat by Donna Smith, and I haven't worn this for a while. I made it a long time ago, I think probably when the pattern first came out, but I've been favouring my Dino hat by Sari Nordland a bit more recently. However, unfortunately I lost that on a recent walk. And yeah, I retraced my steps, I couldn't find it, it is gone, so I've gone back to my Baable hat. I did remove the pom-pom from the top. I felt like it was a little bit big, that was my fault, and I've been finding it really comfortable. I'm getting a lot of wear out of this hat since losing my other one. And the jumper that I'm wearing is another jumper that I knitted during my time away from making videos last year, so you possibly haven't seen this one yet. This is my Stego Sweater by Hunt Hand Knits, and I love it. What's not to love? It's a colourwork yoke with dinosaurs and dinosaur footprints, and I knitted it from Stash Yarns. The main colour, this kind of pale bluish green, is a recycled yarn from iinouiio. It's a DK and I really enjoyed working with it, and I paired it with a contrasting colour, also a DK Shetland from Donna Smith. Tribute to Donna Smith in this episode. This is a naturally dyed Shetland. I'm not sure what the dye stuff was, but it's this soft greenish yellow. I thought it was a lovely colour for a Stegosaurus, and it picked up some of the tones in the recycled yarn as well. So they paired really nicely together. I really enjoyed knitting this jumper. There's one modification that I made from the pattern, which is at the neckband. So the pattern is knitted top down. You cast on at the collar and work the yoke downwards, and it has you knit the ribbing in the same contrast colour as the colour work. And I did do that. If you look inside my neckband, you'll see there is a pale green yellow neckband inside here. But what I found was that neckband was too wide for me. I talked in my last video about liking my jumpers to have a slightly higher neck to hide whatever I'm wearing underneath and to keep me warmer. So I didn't have enough of the contrasting colour to extend that neckband. I worked until I had probably less than 20 centimetres of yarn left. I didn't quite finish the colour chart. I think there's one more line to work this jumper exactly according to the pattern, but actually I really quite like it finishing with this round of dinosaur footprints. But I didn't have enough yarn to extend the neckband, so I worked in my main colour, and I just picked up a line of stitches all around the bottom of the original ribbing that I'd knitted, and then knitted upwards long enough to turn it over and then stitch it to my original cast on edge, adding about an extra inch all the way around the neckband. And now I'm really pleased with it. It's also that it creates that double thickness collar, which makes the neckline more sturdy, and I'm really pleased with how this jumper turned out. In the loveliest way, this walk has reminded me of Dartmoor, finding these secret little mossy places hidden in these sheltered valleys where, I guess it's remnants of Celtic rainforest, where there are ancient trees sheltered from the prevailing winds, and it creates this really damp atmosphere. Obviously it rains a lot. It's been raining for most of my walk today. Not too heavily, thankfully. I'm not soaked through, but I am quite damp. And what happens in that weather is all of the mosses and everything are so happy. The thing that's enchanted me the most on this walk has been the colours and textures of the mosses. They're so incredibly vibrant when it's damp like this. They're not so happy when it's dry and sunny. So it's really nice to see them really singing in their beautiful green colour, and that just makes me so happy. I have been working away on my quilt project since I last spoke to you, but there's not a lot of visible progress to share. I'm still at the stage of sewing dozens of squares together, and it hasn't come together to look like anything yet. But I took a break from it because I needed to do another sewing project, and I'm happy to be able to share that with you instead. So I needed a new swimsuit. This is my previous swimsuit that I made 2 years ago. I'm not sure you'll be able to tell because I've got the light from the window behind the camera here, but when I hold it up to the light, I can see the view of the clouds and the trees and the mountains right through the fabric of this swimsuit. It's done well to last for 2 years, and I'm very proud of it that I sewed something that could stand up to a lot of regular swimming, but I think it's coming to the end of its days. I'm aware when I'm in the swimming pool that it's a little bit more see-through than I would like, and also the reason that I've got my act together and decided to sew a new swimsuit is I'm about to go on my annual hiking adventure to the Southwest Coast Path with Rupert and Kat, which involves a lot of swimming in the sea, and it would only take one small interaction with a rock for this to tear, I think. So it was time for a new swimsuit, and being the person that I am using exactly the same pattern as last time. So this new one is the third iteration of this pattern. It is from a French-Canadian pattern company, Jalie. They do a lot of interesting sports and activewear patterns. This pattern that I use for my swimsuit is actually a boys and men's gymnastics leotard, but it doesn't matter, it works for me. I've obviously graded between sizes using a different size for the shoulders to the waist to the hips to make it fit my body, and it's tried and tested. This is now the third one that I've made, and yeah, I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I timed myself. It took me about 3 hours to assemble this swimsuit, and the whole time I was doing it I thought, oh, I should film some of this process, and I was just so in the zone and really enjoying just being in the flow of sewing. I didn't record any of the process for you, I'm sorry about that, but at least I get to show you the finished swimsuit. So like my previous one, the fabric I've used is from Spooflower. It's their sport lycra, and I chose this gorgeous print with jellyfish on, which I really, really love, and I can't remember the designer's name off the top of my head, but I'll make sure I put it on the screen and in the description down below. Yes, so I loved the jellyfish. The thing that I like about this design is the way the shoulders are constructed. I had the option of choosing a contrasting colour there, so I'm really pleased with how that looks actually. And compared to the previous iteration of this swimsuit, I think I've done a much nicer job sewing it. It's a little bit of a battle with the sewing machine and the elastic sewing this very kind of slippery, stretchy fabric. My sewing machine wasn't the happiest about it, but compared to the job that I did on the previous iteration, which I know can last 2 years, even though it was a bit shonky, I think I've done a much nicer job this time. So I'm hopeful that I've got a lovely new swimsuit to wear for another couple of years. The only modification I made this time is I made the leg slightly longer. I was happy with the length of the previous one, but it had a bit of extra fabric, and I thought, why not? I quite like having a bit of coverage, especially when I'm at the beach and in the sea. So that's the only modification I've made between my previous version and this new version, and I'm looking forward to getting to wear it on some swimming adventures next week. Thank you for joining me for this video. If you enjoyed watching and would like to support my work, you can find links down below to my Patreon and my online shop. I look forward to seeing you again next time.